Hey there! Today, we're going on a journey into one of the strangest, most mind-blowing ideas out there, hidden dimensions beyond what we can see. We're talking about the fourth and even the fifth dimension, and I know that might sound like science fiction, but it's actually based on real scientific theories. So let's get started with a very simple example to wrap our head around this. Imagine you are a circle living your whole life on a piece of paper. In your world, you can go forward, backward, left and right, just two directions. Up and down don't exist for you. So, if I were to lift that piece of paper off the table, you'd have no clue what just happened or why. To you, the idea of an up or a down is impossible because it's totally outside your world. Now here's the twist. What if we're like that too? We're used to our three dimensions, up, down, left, right, forward and backward. But scientists think there might be more higher dimensions out there that we just can't see or feel. What would those dimensions look like? What would they change about the universe we know? In this video, we're going to explore these hidden dimensions, how they might work, and why scientists think they could explain some of the biggest mysteries about our universe. So, if you're ready, let's dive into the unknown and see if we can catch a glimpse of what's beyond. In our everyday world of three dimensions, we're used to length, width, and height. So imagine you're holding a fresh cup of coffee. You can move it up, down, forward, backward, left, right, any direction in space. But here's the catch. Once you take that sip, you can only experience it in that moment. Now let's say you accidentally knock it over and splash. Coffee all over your keyboard. A disaster, right? Unfortunately, you can't just rewind time to magically make the coffee pour itself back into the cup. As much as you wish you could, there's no undo button for time. Believe me, I've tried. And that's where time comes in as the fourth dimension. Just like we move in space, we're all moving through time. We can only move forward, at least for now. You can think of time as this invisible conveyor belt we're all riding, 1 second at a time, moving us from the past through the present and into the future. But imagine if we could move through time just like we move through space. What if we had a time remote and could rewind to any moment we wanted or skip forward to see what's coming next? No more accidentally liking an embarrassing photo from 10 years ago. Just rewind, unlike, and save yourself the horror. So when we say time is the fourth dimension, we mean it's like an extra direction, but one we're currently stuck moving in just one way. Imagine it like being on a one-way street that never ends. And here's where it gets interesting. If we could step outside of this time stream, we might see all of time at once. The past, the present, and the future, just like we can see all points on a map. So why does this matter? Well, this fourth dimension, time, is what lets us experience life moment by moment. It's the glue that holds the events of the universe together. Without it, everything would be happening all at once. Kind of a cosmic traffic jam. And who knows, if we could figure out how to control this dimension, maybe we'd finally solve all our scheduling conflicts. Sorry I'm late. I had to stop by last Thursday to pick something up. No, if you are wondering about time as the fourth dimension and wondering that isn't it too obvious, just wait till we discuss about the most intriguing fifth dimension. But before going there, let's try to visualize what it would actually look like to see the fourth dimension in action, something that will really stretch our imagination. And after that, we'll uncover the mysteries of the fifth dimension, which, trust me, takes things to a whole new level of weirdness. So stay tuned. It's about to get really interesting. All right, let's bring back that classic coffee spill example. Picture this. You're sitting at your desk, enjoying a nice cup of coffee, maybe a bit too relaxed. In this moment, everything's normal, right? But let's say your hand slips and splash, coffee all over your keyboard. Now, in our usual three-dimensional world, you can only experience that moment once. You're stuck with the aftermath, grabbing paper towels, trying to clean up the mess. You can't rewind time and stop it from happening. But let's imagine that every second of this coffee spill is captured like a frame in a movie. Each frame shows you at a different split second, the cup tipping, the coffee pouring out, the panic setting in as you try to save your keyboard. Now let's take all of these frames and line them up side by side. If we could see this from the fourth dimension, we wouldn't just see a single moment in time. Instead, we'd see every single instant of this coffee incident all at once. It's like a four-dimensional time sculpture, where each second is frozen and displayed together. So, from a four-dimensional perspective, you'd see the entire sequence: the coffee cup, the tipping point, the spill, and the frantic cleanup, all layered together in one big sculpture made of time. It's like a flip book, but instead of flipping through each moment, you'd see all of them at once. This time sculpture concept is what helps us visualize the fourth dimension, all moments laid out as a visible path instead of one we experience step by step. It's like taking every frame of a movie and stacking them up so you can see the whole thing in one snapshot. So while we're here in 3 dimensions, painfully dealing with 1 second at a time, a 4-dimensional being would see the whole messy event in one go. Pretty wild, right? And if that blew your mind, just wait till we'll dive into the 5th dimension where things get even stranger. So stick around, it's about to get really interesting. All right, we've stretched our minds to imagine the 4th dimension as time, seeing moments stacked together like a sculpture of every instant. Now we're taking an even bigger leap into the 5th dimension. But before we dive into the different theories, let's first set the stage to understand what the 5th dimension could really mean. So, we've already got our 3-dimensional world: length, width, and height. Add in time as the 4th dimension, and we have the flow from past to future. But what if there's another dimension that goes beyond this timeline? What would it look like? To get an idea, imagine our timeline as a single path, a one-way street that we move along second by second. But what if there were a second path running parallel to it, a slightly different timeline where things played out a little differently? This is the starting idea of the 5th dimension. Instead of just one timeline, we'd have multiple timelines, each representing a different possible outcome. Think of it as a parallel road that runs right alongside ours, where life went in a slightly different direction. So, if the 4th dimension is like a straight line through time, the 5th dimension would be like a web, connecting alternate versions of our world. Picture every little decision you make as creating a new branch, a timeline where you took that other path. Here's an easy way to imagine it. Imagine that each timeline is like a path through a giant maze. Right now, you're on one path, but at every choice point, every fork, you could have taken a different direction. The 5th dimension is where all these alternate paths coexist, connecting every possible choice and outcome. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Scientists and philosophers have proposed different theories about what this 5th dimension actually is. Is it a hidden part of our universe that helps us understand gravity? Or is it a doorway to alternate realities where every what-if you've ever had actually plays out? So, in the next chapters, we're going to dive into these different ideas and explore the big question. What really is the 5th dimension, and why does it matter? Each theory has its own take on what's happening in this hidden dimension, and each one brings us closer to understanding the mysteries of the universe. All right, so we're stepping into the 5th dimension, and the first theory we're diving into is like a hidden plot twist in the story of our universe. Imagine for a second that we've been missing an entire secret layer right under our noses. That's what Kaluza-Klein theory is all about. The idea that there might be a hidden dimension, one that could change how we understand the forces that shape our universe. So here's where the story begins. It was the 1920s, and physicist Theodore Kaluza had this bold idea: what if there's more to the universe than meets the eye? And not just a tiny bit more. What if there's an entire dimension we've never seen because it's, well, curled up? Imagine a dimension so small it's practically hiding in plain sight, like a tiny roll of paper at every point in space. Think of it like a secret extra page in a book, tucked in so tightly between the others that you can't even see it. Kaluza believed this hidden dimension could be the key to solving one of the universe's biggest mysteries: why gravity and another mysterious force, electromagnetism, exist side by side, but seem so different. Now, you might be thinking, wait, hold on, electromagnetism, gravity, what's all this about? Okay, let's break it down. gravity is the force keeping you from floating into space every time you try to do a jumping jack. Electromagnetism, on the other hand, is the force behind things like light, magnets, and electricity. Two pretty big deals in the grand scheme of things, right? But here's the funny thing. While gravity and electromagnetism are both forces that influence our universe, they don't seem to fit together neatly. They're like two siblings who grew up in the same house but somehow ended up with completely different personalities. Gravity pulls things together, while electromagnetism can either pull or push. Gravity is super weak on a small scale, yet electromagnetism, it's lightning fast and strong. Kaluza wondered, what if there's a hidden dimension, a secret bridge that connects these two forces? And here's where his theory gets really interesting. Kaluza found that if you add a fifth dimension tucked in at each point in space, it could actually unify gravity and electromagnetism. It's as if this hidden dimension was the missing link all along, bringing these two forces together like a cosmic family reunion. So, what does this fifth dimension actually look like? Picture a tiny, curled-up loop, so small that we don't see it, kind of like trying to spot a grain of sand from a mile away. If you zoom in enough, though, you'd see this little loop at every point in space, and it's this hidden loop that connects gravity and electromagnetism. It's kind of like discovering your favorite pen has a secret compartment you never noticed. It was there all along, but it's so small and subtle that it's easy to miss. Now, Kaluza's idea didn't solve every mystery in physics, but it planted a big seed. His theory inspired scientists to look at the universe in a new way, leading to ideas like string theory, where even more hidden dimensions might help explain the forces that shape our reality. So, in a nutshell, the Kaluza-Klein theory suggests that the fifth dimension is a tiny, hidden part of our world, one that might hold the key to understanding why gravity and electromagnetism exist together in this cosmic dance. And if you thought this theory was wild, just wait. Next up, we're diving into a totally different idea. The fifth dimension as a multiverse, a world where every possible reality exists side by side. Get ready, because things are about to get even stranger. All right, buckle up, because we're stepping into an even wilder theory of the fifth dimension, the multiverse theory. Forget tiny hidden loops. This one takes the fifth dimension to a whole new level. Imagine an entire web of alternate realities, where every what-if you've ever thought of exists as its own universe. So here's the big idea. In this version of the fifth dimension, it's not just about one timeline moving forward. Instead, we have infinite timelines, each representing a different version of reality. Every choice you've made, or could have made, branches off into a whole new world. Think of it like a giant choose-your-own-adventure book, but for the entire universe. Every time you make a choice, a new branch opens up. Didn't go for that last slice of pizza? Somewhere out there in the multiverse, there's a you who did. So how does this actually work? Well, imagine you're walking down a road. Every time you hit a fork, you have to choose a path, right? In our usual four-dimensional reality, once you pick a path, you're on it. End of story. But in the fifth dimension, both paths exist at once. You take the left path and the right path. Each one branches off into its own universe. And it's not just big life decisions. Every tiny choice branches off. What if you'd worn a blue shirt today instead of a red one? Or taken a different route to work? In the multiverse fifth dimension, every single possibility plays out somewhere. So, yes, there's a universe where you're rocking that blue shirt, and another where you're already on your fifth coffee of the day because traffic was a nightmare. Now imagine this on a universal scale. Not just you, but every single particle, every star, every galaxy, all with their own infinite possibilities. The fifth dimension as a multiverse means there's a reality for every possible outcome. One where the dinosaurs never went extinct. One where humans evolved with 3 arms, maybe even one where pizza has no calories. So how would a being in the fifth dimension experience all this? Well, they'd be able to see every possible timeline at once, like a huge map. They could flip between versions of reality like you're scrolling through channels on TV. It'd be like having access to every version of your life story at the same time. Imagine a being who could zoom out and see every version of you, every version of everyone, like looking at a massive cosmic family tree. They'd see not just your life path, but every possible life path, all branching out in infinite directions. It's like a giant web of what-ifs, capturing every possibility the universe could hold. So if this theory is true, the fifth dimension is essentially the place where all these alternate realities exist. It's not just a hidden dimension, it's a realm of infinite possibilities. And what's even crazier, some scientists think that exploring this multiverse could help us understand things like quantum mechanics, where particles seem to be in multiple states at once, or even shed light on the nature of time and reality itself. So, there you have it, the fifth dimension as a multiverse. And if this idea seems out there, just wait, because the theories about the sixth dimension take things to an entirely different level. But before we go there, let's dive a little deeper into what the multiverse means for us and how scientists are trying to figure out if this idea of parallel universes is more than just sci-fi. Get ready. There's a lot more mystery to unravel. Alright, so we've introduced the idea of the fifth dimension as a multiverse, an entire web of alternate realities branching off with every possible choice and outcome. But how might something like this actually work? Is there any real science that suggests we could be living in a multiverse? The idea of a multiverse isn't just sci-fi. In fact, some of the biggest names in science have proposed theories that hint at the possibility of parallel universes. So let's dive into a few of the theories that make this concept a bit more believable. First up, we have a concept from quantum mechanics called the many worlds interpretation. Don't worry, it sounds more complicated than it is. So in the world of quantum mechanics, particles like electrons seem to be a little unpredictable. They don't just sit in one spot or move in one direction. Instead, they're in multiple states at once, like they're playing hide and seek with reality. Now, physicist Hugh Everett had a radical idea to explain this strange behavior. He suggested that every time a particle has multiple possible states, the universe splits. In each version of the universe, the particle chooses a different state. So, if a particle could go left or right, there's a universe where it goes left and another where it goes right. It's like a cosmic fork in the road every time a decision is made, with the universe creating a new branch for each possibility. And here's the kicker. If this applies to particles, then maybe it applies to everything, including us. So according to the many worlds interpretation, there could be countless versions of reality, each with slight differences based on every choice made. And each of these realities exists simultaneously in the fifth dimension. Alright, next up, we have a theory straight from the big picture of the cosmos, the bubble multiverse. This one comes from the idea of cosmic inflation, the rapid expansion of space after the Big Bang. Imagine the universe as a rapidly expanding foam, with each bubble in the foam representing a different universe. Some scientists believe that as space expands, it forms these bubbles, each one its own universe with its own set of physical laws. So, in one bubble, gravity might be stronger. In another, stars might burn twice as bright. And in yet another, there could be entirely different laws of physics. It's a multiverse of bubbles all floating around in the fifth dimension. And here's the fun part. If this theory is right, our universe is just one bubble in a cosmic bubble bath. We're floating right alongside other universes, each with its own unique version of reality. Last but not least, we have string theory, a theory that's all about hidden dimensions. String theory suggests that every particle in the universe is actually a tiny, vibrating string. And to make this theory work, we need more dimensions, up to 10 or 11 in fact. Some versions of string theory suggest that these extra dimensions could be hiding entire universes, parallel to our own. So the fifth dimension might be just the start. There could be many more dimensions, each holding entire worlds we can't even perceive. So in this theory, the multiverse could be woven right into the fabric of reality. Different versions of our universe, each held within different dimensions like a grand cosmic spiderweb. So if we put it all together, the fifth dimension as a multiverse isn't just a wild idea. It's backed by real theories that scientists are still exploring today. Quantum mechanics, cosmic inflation, and string theory each give us a different lens on what this multiverse could look like. And the truth is, we don't know for sure. The multiverse could be real, or it could just be a fascinating thought experiment. But one thing's for sure, it opens up endless possibilities for understanding the nature of our reality. In the next chapter, we're going to explore what it might mean if these other dimensions really exist. Could we ever interact with them? And what would that be like? Stay tuned. Things are only getting stranger from here. So, could we ever interact with these higher dimensions? Right now, the answer is maybe. But the potential is incredible. Whether it's through quantum technology, strange phenomena like déjà vu, or simply the mysteries of our own minds, the idea of glimpsing into other dimensions isn't as far-fetched as it once seemed. Exploring the fifth dimension and imagining a multiverse of possibilities opens up an entirely new way of looking at reality. It's a reminder that there could be so much more to existence than what we see. Every choice we make, every path we don't take, might be playing out somewhere in this vast web of alternate timelines. But as incredible as the fifth dimension is, it's only the beginning. Scientists have proposed even higher dimensions, each one more mind-bending than the last. The sixth dimension, for example, goes even further. It's like a grand library of all possible universes, not just the ones that stem from our own timeline, but every universe that could ever exist, each with its own unique laws of physics. The sixth dimension is a whole other level of weirdness. It's like the ultimate collection of all realities, each with its own unique story. But that's a journey for another video. So if you're ready to go even deeper, stay tuned. We'll explore the mysteries of the sixth dimension and beyond next time. For now, we've taken a glimpse into the mysteries of the fifth dimension, a place where every possible version of our lives exists side by side, a cosmic multiverse with infinite possibilities. Whether it's real or just a theory, the journey itself reminds us of the limitless potential hidden within the universe. Thank you for joining me on this mind-bending adventure. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep exploring these fascinating dimensions. Who knows what we'll discover next?